technique. Blood continues to drip onto the ground. As Suk approaches Soryong, clearly worried, she asks what happened so suddenly and insists that they need to take him to the infirmary, as he is bleeding heavily. She then asks him to wait a moment so she can examine him more carefully. Placing her fingers on his pulse, she analyzes his condition and quickly identifies something unusual. It appears to be the beast heart technique. Faced with this doubt, the grandfather recalls the moment when Soryong fainted as Cho transformed into the flying centipede, questioning whether there is a connection. Suddenly, Soryong collapses to the ground, startling everyone. Hwain looks upward, calling out to Cho, and questions whether there is any explanation for the fainting caused by the technique. However, Suk clarifies that this time it does not seem to be Cho's fault. The old patriarch then raises another possibility. Perhaps the cause lies in another connection. He explains that Cho and Hyang are not the only ones Soryong is connected to through the beast heart technique. At that moment, a light begins to envelop Soryong's body, leaving Hwain visibly frightened. Through this connection, Soryong finds himself in a strange space. In front of him, he sees Bin. It is she who is causing all of this. Confused, he tries to understand where he is and realizes that the environment feels familiar, similar to the snake den he once fell into. He reflects that his consciousness was pulled in the same way when Cho and the beast heart technique intertwine, but he notices that the atmosphere now feels different. He recalls what he learned. When connecting with a powerful spiritual creature like Cho, there is a risk of having one's mind consumed. Suddenly, something appears before him. Soryong senses a presence and tries to identify who is there. As he approaches, he sees a girl standing in front of him and wonders if it might be something malicious. Without warning, the girl opens her arms and embraces him. In that instant he realizes, it is Bin. While all of this is happening within his mind, in the real world Soryong remains unconscious, surrounded by the group. Then he finally wakes up, and Hwain explains that he needs to rest, as he lost consciousness for a moment due to the beast heart technique. Suddenly, Soryong has a realization and clearly remembers what happened, stating that he encountered Bin within his mind, within his mental image. Right after that, he warns that something is heading toward the Gujin gate. At that very moment, Bin appears, bursting through the gate with force and destroying everything in her path. Soryong is overjoyed to see her in front of him, under the sunlight. Bin also shows happiness as she approaches him. He gently strokes her, moved by her return, while the others however watch with suspicion, questioning whether that truly is Bin. The old patriarch, cautious, raises the hypothesis that this form might be Ion and orders all the warriors to step back so he can examine it more carefully. Soryong, confused, does not fully understand what is happening and says that he needs to retrieve something. A short while later he returns carrying a book and hands it to Soryong. He explains that it is the secret record of the Tang clan, a document containing information about all the venomous creatures of the heavens. Opening the book, he points to a specific passage, the Hwon of the 24 venomous branches, known as the Black Phantom Centipede. It is an extremely powerful creature, ranked among the most dangerous, capable of hearing the voices of all things on Earth with precision and even breaking through solid rock. Upon hearing the explanation, Soryong realizes that Bin has evolved into this legendary form. Impressed, he praises her, saying she has returned even more incredible and beautiful, even comparing her to her older sister, Cho. Upon hearing this, Cho approaches, clearly displeased. Soryong tries to ease the situation, suggesting that Cho is also happy about Bin's return. At that moment he notices something surprising. He can hear Bin's thoughts, and in his mind she boasts, saying she is more beautiful since father said so. Surprised, Soryong reflects that he can not only feel, but also hear the two communicating with each other, and realizes that this ability has also evolved along with the technique. Then both of them turn toward him and ask the inevitable question, which one of them is more beautiful? Faced with this, Soryong is completely at a loss for what to answer. The next day he finds himself in an isolated forest. They head toward the abandoned Taoist temple, the former home of the Silk Masters, in order to finally complete the divine thief's request. As they walk, Soryong remains deep in thought, recalling the strange structure attached to the carcass of the celestial silk he had seen earlier. That is an osmeterium, a defensive organ exclusive to swallowtail butterfly larvae, non-existent in ordinary silkworms. The divine thief notices his expression and asks what he is thinking about, but Soryong brushes it off, saying it is nothing. The thief comments that it is natural to have concerns. After all, this is a problem that even the most renowned silk masters of the Central Hills have been unable to solve. He places his trust in Soryang, takes on the worries himself, and asks him to follow what he believes. In silence, Soryang gathers his thoughts and decides to face the problem step by step. The divine thief stops and points to the location, stating that they have arrived at their destination. Soryang looks at the temple before him and decides that it is time to begin, and in a low voice, he recites the words of the path of the poison master. Without hesitation, he opens the door, ready to move forward.